Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the rLounge. When it comes to stealing the spotlight, some people don't just grab the mic, they fake an entire pregnancy to do it. Today in the rLounge, sometimes the real drama isn't on the TV screen. It's in the people who pretend to be your closest family. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my brother and sister-in-law to announce her pregnancy at my wedding? Okay, so I'm borrowing a friend's account as this is my first time on Reddit. So I, 21 female, am getting married in a week to my significant other, 25 male. We got engaged almost 2 years ago, and through that, we've had some issues with my brother and sister-in-law. Let's call my brother Adam and my sister-in-law Maddie. So when we first got engaged, Maddie had announced her miscarriage at our engagement dinner. I'm a people pleaser, so I never mentioned it after it happened. However, she did steal all the attention. I had invited her to go to wedding dress shopping with me, and she had announced her other miscarriage. It put a damper on the whole day, and they had invited her out to drink without me, which I was okay with. Fast forward to 2-ish months ago at the end of March, they had told me that they were expecting. I was obviously super stoked about it because they had struggled for a while and they deserve it. However, at the end of our visit, my fiance had mentioned that the next family gathering we're going to have is our wedding in June. At first, I was confused where he was going with this, but then it dawned on me that they were going to use our wedding for their announcement. We didn't bring it up in hopes that they would never think to do that, but the next day, Maddie called and asked if she could announce her pregnancy at our wedding. I was so livid I did lash out. I'm not proud of it. I told her that she always finds a way to make everything about her, and it gets old. My fiance calmed me down and we didn't communicate for a whole week. My parents were visiting me one day, and I had brought up the situation and they understood why I was pissed off, but said I should suck it up. I got mad and said if they were going to do that, they didn't get to come to my wedding, and my parents told me I was being selfish. I never loved having attention on me, but I've always dreamed of having a wedding day being about me and my fiance, and not having any other distractions. I've always taken my Adam and Maddie's BS, and I don't have the mental strength to do it anymore. I don't want to be rude by uninviting them, but they won't back down. They told me pretty much everyone in our social circle, and most of them are on our side, but some are saying I'm being an a-hole and that my wedding day isn't just about me. Throughout the whole wedding process, I've been accommodating and made sure I don't ask for much from others, and I understand other people's lives don't stop because it's my wedding, but I do just want my one day to be about me and the man I love. So Reddit, am I being the a-hole? Should I just let them announce their pregnancy to keep the peace? Update. I want to make this clear. This is not my Reddit account. It's a friend's. The past posts are hers and I didn't want to delete them out of respect. Update time. Sorry if this is a long update. I want to give some more context. So throughout my whole childhood, I knew I wasn't the golden child. Anytime I wanted something, they would say, "No, I ask for too much," or "Stop being greedy." My brother got handed things on a silver platter whenever he wanted. I met Maddie when I was 12 and she was 15. We immediately got close and I was so excited to have a friend that was older and more mature. She would take advantage of me in minor ways because I've always been a people pleaser. I've always accepted I wasn't going to be anyone's first choice, so when I met Maddie, I let her walk all over me in fear of losing a friend. Eventually, I met my fiancé, Christian, I'm using his real name, when I was 18. We started dating when I was 19, and the rest is history, as they say. When he first met my parents, he said they had an odd way of showing that they loved me. I just nodded in agreement because what the hell do I say? A few weeks after he met my parents, I opened up about my childhood and how I always felt unwanted and was scared of losing him. Eventually, his parents sort of became my parents, supportive of every decision and would just treat me like I was their own. He proposed, and we chose not to rush into the wedding planning. At this point, my brother and best friend had been married for a year. My brother is 28 and my sister-in-law just turned 25. They had been trying for a baby and had appointments on top of appointments to figure out what was wrong. They never found anything wrong with either of them. She just had a hard time conceiving. I was there for every appointment when my brother couldn't make it, and she confided in me when she was at her lowest. When she announced to the family that she was pregnant, I was ecstatic because no one deserved to have a hard time getting pregnant. Then we had our engagement party, and while we were going around and saying what we were grateful for, she stood up and said, "I have an announcement. We lost the baby." I didn't want to be rude, so I told her how sorry we were, and the whole dinner became about her and my brother. I pulled my brother to the side and was like, "What the F?" He said she wasn't going to do it this early, meaning she was still going to, and he would talk to her. The next morning when I woke up, she had texted me once, and the message said that she thought I was a better friend. I instantly felt bad, so I called her, and we had talked for an hour. Everything was well. Then we went wedding dress shopping. She was perfectly fine throughout the day, not sad or like she wanted to cry. Then when I started getting compliments from my mother-in-law, she stood up and announced she had miscarried. My heart sank because I genuinely felt bad for her. The rest of the day, it was all about her and her miscarried baby. I had even said yes to my wedding dress that day, and no one cared. I felt sad about it, but I'll live. The next day, I had mentioned it to my brother, and he said that not everything is about you, and that I should start feeling more. I felt bad, but I couldn't relate, and I wasn't going to pretend I did. I hung up feeling defeated after he berated and belittled me about how selfish I was being, and he even said he hopes when I get pregnant someday, I lose the baby. So I know how it feels. I cried the rest of the day and didn't talk to any of my family for a week. When I finally brought it up to my other family members, they understood where I was coming from, but they had all agreed I could have let her grieve without the call to my brother. When I told my parents, they said they would talk to him because what he said to me was disrespectful. I already knew they wouldn't talk to him, but I had a sliver of hope they would. Anyway, so come to my wedding week, and this whole thing has blown up. When they first asked if they could announce their pregnancy at my wedding, I thought they were joking or still on a high about finally being pregnant. They were in fact being dead-ass serious. My parents knew about the pregnancy as well as Maddie's parents, who will not be attending my wedding. That's pretty much it. She's also told some of her closer friends, but she wanted to announce it to my side of the family as well as my husband's side, who will most likely not give a flying crap. Not that they don't think pregnancy is a blessing, but they don't know crap about her. In total, about 10, including me and my fiance, people know about her being pregnant. A lot of people recommend that I post it on Facebook or make a group chat, and while I love those ideas, I'm not brave enough to do it. I did, however, ask if I could talk to her, and this is pretty much how our conversation went. I brought up the situation, and she was trying to gaslight me into thinking that most of the day will be about me, but then people will leave knowing that she is pregnant, how I needed to stop being jealous about her pregnancy, and so on and so forth. It didn't go as planned, so I just said, you can come and keep your mouth shut, or you'll both be disinvited. Those are the only two options I gave her, and then I stood up and left. My brother and mom called me later that day, and my brother said they will be coming, and they will be announcing whatever they want to. When my mom called, I was scared she'd be on my brother's side, but she finally saw my side of things, and she didn't realize how bad things have gotten. My mom talked to them the next day on the phone, and was trying to convince them to do it a different day, or the day after my wedding, which is fine because then it'll be our honeymoon and not a day we share with everyone. They said they'd sit on it, but barely an hour later, they said no. I chose to disinvite them from my wedding, and I talked to one of my dad's brothers who I am very close with and told him about the pregnancy. He's petty as hell, so I was nervous he would do something over the top and embarrass them, but instead, he simply put together a group chat and said, "We thank everyone for participating in attending me and my fiance's wedding, and that we unfortunately won't be seeing Adam and Maddie at my wedding due to pregnancy-related things." That was his message, and he was the only one who got calls. They didn't know I told him, and I got away from that issue. I will update you all when my wedding has passed, wedding date 6/28/25, and let you know how things went. As of right now, they won't be attending, but they may show up. Thank you to everyone who gave me advice in the comments and made me feel better about being a little bit selfish for me and my fiance. You deserve to have your day be all about you and Christian, and not some sideshow for Maddie and Adam's drama. Honestly, they sound exhausting. I totally get why you're fed up. You've been way too patient already, and it's okay to finally put your foot down. If they can't respect your wishes, then honestly, you're better off without that stress on your big day. Update. I'm a wifey. Sorry if the update took longer. I wanted to enjoy my honeymoon. The wedding surprisingly went well. So update time. Also, since I wasn't clear enough in my first post, this isn't my account. It's a friend's account, and I didn't want to delete her story because it felt disrespectful. So the posts from months ago aren't mine. While getting my hair and makeup done, Maddie called repeatedly to supposedly let us know she was coming whether she wanted us to or not. So I was very nervous. I did reply to a few comments about how my uncle works at a bar and some of his friends are bouncers, so I hired them as our security. So we did have security for the wedding. I showed my uncle some of your comments, and he has claimed all the petty energy. Maddie did not show up. However, she quite literally exposed herself at my wedding, so let's get into it. She never had the second miscarriage. She just didn't like the fact that we were going wedding dress shopping for me. She got drunk off her butt and told me she was not pregnant. So literally today, the day after my honeymoon ended, I got a call from Maddie asking if we could chat. Naturally, I was going to say no. However, after talking to my husband about it, he said I need to set my boundaries as to where I stand on this friendship. So I did. We met up at a beach bar near us to chat. I feel like choosing a bar while pregnant should have been a red flag. She told me that she was disappointed that she wasn't at my wedding and that she knew we would not be close after this, so she wanted to come clean. So for starters, she didn't have that second miscarriage. She just didn't like the fact that I was getting all the attention. She did have the first one, and she has had fertility issues in the past, so I wasn't going to second guess it. Now as for her being pregnant now, she's not. To those who said her pregnancy seemed too planned, that would be why. So yeah, she lied about that too. Even worse, my brother didn't even know she was lying. She said she faked the ultrasound pictures and had those fake pregnancy bellies you can buy. I was dumbfounded. I stayed silent the whole time so she would talk. She was a middle school and high school bully who got jealous whenever she wasn't the center of attention or drama. She didn't like that me and my husband were getting all the attention leading up to our wedding, so she bought fake positive pregnancy tests and printed ultrasound pictures. At this point, she's probably 3 drinks in. Meanwhile, I'm drinking water because I thought she was pregnant. She told me a few other things about her and my brother's marriage and that I won't mention out of respect. When I got home, I immediately told Christian what happened and he told my brother. I wanted Maddie to come clean, but deep down I knew she wouldn't. As you can imagine, that didn't go over well with him. That night, Adam came to crash at our house and he's been super closed off since. When me and my brother talked, he told me that losing the baby was messing with their marriage and he came out of his depressive state when he found out he would get to be a father. So he had no clue that he faked her second miscarriage and her pregnancy. I did feel bad for him, and he's currently staying with our parents. I'm not going to share where their marriage is at because I don't know all the details and they haven't talked to each other in a hot sec. My wedding was amazing, and besides getting threats from Maddie that she was going to show up and some of my other family members thinking they should be here, it went really good. I did invite my brother to the wedding, but he chose not to go because he was pissed off at our uncle for sharing these pregnancy news. Only my parents and uncle knew that she isn't actually pregnant, and read it. And they want him to get a divorce. My uncle is a real one and a petty badass. Maddie sent him death threats after he announced the pregnancy for them and how they were going to sue him for sharing their important news. Thank you to everyone who has given advice and support. I told Maddie that while I appreciated her coming clean, it was too late. Our friendship has been through too much, and I'm not going to waste my time on someone who will just constantly lie to me and tear me down. I'm sad that I thought she was my friend, but I'll make better ones. So that's the final update. Okay, seriously, Maddie faking a whole pregnancy and miscarriage just to steal your thunder? That's next level insane. It's honestly kind of impressive how far she went though. Buying fake belly bumps and ultrasound pics? She's really committed. She was desperate to be the center of attention no matter what. Hopefully your brother wakes up to what's really going on here soon. Have you ever known someone who went this far to steal the spotlight? Like faking an entire pregnancy? How would you even handle that kind of crazy? Thank you for joining us today in the rLounge. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time. And please put your chair back where you found it.